Welcome back to the Victorian Hyper Yielding Crops Research Centre. This project, which we refer to as the HYC, is a GRDC funded initiative led by FAR Australia. This video is part of our October update where Nick Poole is looking at the progression of our barley diseases and the influence of our management programs.
Good morning and welcome to the Hyper Yielding Crops Research Centre here in southern Victoria. Damp morning, sun just starting to break through, great rainfall in recent weeks, great yield potential, but also great prospects for disease. The whole gamut of the projects we've set out here at the Research Centre is based on the fact that in order for us to actually show productivity gains, we've also got to be able to see these differences. In other words, seeing is believing. And you join us at a time of year where we're really beginning to pull out the differences in our germplasm, in our agronomic management techniques, in fact, in all facets of the project. Let's have a look here at some of what we've got in Planet. Planet barley is incredibly popular throughout the high rainfall zone and further north. And this variety is grown here with no fungicide whatsoever. And what you can see when you look in is a completely defoliated crop canopy right the way up through to effectively the uppermost leaves, F-1 and flag. Disease pressure has been high this year, but one of the biggest visual differences, and we think one of the biggest yield differences that we'll witness, is actually due to when we apply them. Come and have a look. So at this point in the trial, what we've got set up here is a plot of Planet that's had a growth stage 31 fungicide. So as the crop forms its first node, we estimate that the leaf that's emerging would be about flag -3 in this particular case. We've applied here 300 mils of Prosaro. When you look at the canopy, you can see that there are still leaves here at the level of F-1 that have a green base to them. The crop is clearly better than the untreated. But because the growth stage 31 fungicide goes on before flag -1, which is the most important leaf in barley, it goes on before this leaf emerges. Come and have a look at what difference it makes if we then apply the second fungicide at that flag leaf to awn emergence stage, about 4 weeks typically after the first fungicide. This is now Planet barley with 2 foliar fungicides, and in the more productive regions of Australia, it is extremely difficult to get just single fungicide programs to work. And this is because barley tends to suffer disease on its lower leaves earlier, and those leaves tend to actually be more important in barley than they are in wheat. But in addition, because flag -1 doesn't emerge until growth stage 33, it's difficult to put one spray on that adequately covers all of those important top canopy leaves, plus the flag leaf sheath. But look what happens if we now apply a second fungicide. In this case, radial at 840 mils a hectare. So this is a mixture of a strobel urine, group 11 QOI, and a triazole DMI group 3. The difference is profound, and it's purely indicating just how fungicides work. They're most effective on the tissue that they come into contact with. And here you can see that we're looking at a totally different crop because we've actually applied both the first and the second fungicide. This really is a case of seeing is believing. And I'd go as far as to say I'll eat my hat if the yields of this plot are not greater than the 3 I've shown you. So we've got impressive differences in green leaf retention where we've used 2 fungicides compared to 1. But when the crop goes post-flower, particularly in damper seasons such as this, we also see blemishes on that important flag -1. And it raises the question of, is there better chemistry that we can apply as that second spray in those seasons that we know have got good potential? And come the second spray, going on at that flag leaf to awn stage, we've got a much clearer picture of the spring than we have back at the start of stem elongation. I've brought these stems from an adjacent trial, and what I want to show you is some of the smaller differences that we're seeing on site right now, which we're quite excited by the difference in green leaf retention. Come and take a closer look. These are the kind of symptoms that we've been finding on flag -1 in planet barley and also other varieties that we're testing here. It's principally on the elbow of the leaf, and we think it's possibly associated with damper conditions and the pollen falling from the head above. And we're asking the question, does this cost us yield? You could almost call it a black physiological flecking. And if you look at the underside of the leaf, you can see that the underside, whilst going yellow, is completely different. This is where we've used 840 of radial. These from an adjacent trial are where we've actually used an SDHI mixed with a triazole as that second spray timing. You can see that there's damage due to lucerne flea, but actually they're incredibly green in terms of disease control. So comparing the two, this is something that we're investigating further that we think may have a strong bearing on yield responses in 2 spray programs.